Good morning, students. Hope and pray you all are safe and healthy. Students, today we will do chapter number 10 of novel Carton Keeps His Promise. Students, in last chapter we have learned that Charles was taken away by the guards. Lucy and her father, Dr. Manet, were very upset. At that time, Sydney Carton promised little Lucy to do everything to save life of Charles. After leaving Dr. Manet's house, Carton walked to the Defards cafe. He was not sure that what he hoped he would find there. There he saw that Jacques III was talking to Defards and his wife. Carton took a seat and ordered something in French. Ma'am Defards recognized him from his accent that he was an English. He was listening to the conversation between Defards, his wife, and Jacques III. Ma'am Defards noticed his resemblance to Charles. Soon they forgot and they again started with their own conversation. Ma'am Defards said that the revolution should stop at nothing but extermination, while her husband seemed more moderate. Jacques III agreed with her. Defards said that Dr. Manet had suffered a lot, but Ma'am Defards wanted to take revenge from him and his daughter because of Charles. She asked her husband to remember murder of her father, brother, sister, and her sister's husband. By Marquis. After hearing all this, Carton felt that little Lucy and Dr. Manet had to leave France immediately. After paying bill, he left that cafe. After that, with Mr. Lorry and Jerry Cruncher, he reached Lucy's house. There he saw that Dr. Manet again became sick and was asking for his shoemaking tools. Carton discussed something with Mr. Lorry. On the other side, Dr. Manet, who was pacing nervously, stumbled and knocked over a small case in which he used to keep his documents. Carton found a certificate allowing Dr. Manet to leave the city. He gave that certificate along with his pass to Mr. Lorry. He asked him to be ready to leave the country as their lives were not safe there. He told about the conversation which he overheard in Defards' cafe. Carton told him that according to new law, those who cry or show sympathy over the death of a victim would be given same punishment. He asked Mr. Lorry to ready Lucy and Dr. Manet to leave the city as soon as he appeared to get in the carriage. He left the place in hope to do his part well. On next day, 52 men and women were waiting to die at Conciergerie. In the cell, Charles Darnay was waiting for his turn because now he could do nothing to escape. He sat down to write letters to Lucy, Dr. Manette, and Mr. Lorry. Just after finishing his letters, he saw door of his cell opened and heard someone whispering in English. Charles saw that Sidney Carton was coming towards him. Charles asked him why he was there. Carton asked him to do according to his instructions as there was no time left. He asked him to swap clothes with him. After exchanging clothes, Carton asked Charles to write something for him. While telling what to write, he passed a hanky under Charles' nose and put him to sleep. Now he asked John Barsad, who was a spy, to come there and drag Charles to safety. He also gave him instructions that if anyone would ask about him, then tell him that he was fainted. Barsad promised that he would not cheat him. He would take Charles to the mentioned address. Now Sidney Carton was alone in the cell to die in place of him. After 15 minutes, he was asked to follow the guard. The guard took him to the cart with various other prisoners towards guillotine. He sat beside a young girl. She recognized that he was not Charles, but kept his secret and asked to hold his brave hand on the way to the guillotine. On the other side, Dr. Manette, Lucy, little Lucy, Mr. Lorry, and unconscious Charles Darnay, disguised as Sidney Carton, passed safely out of Paris after showing papers. In the afternoon of that day, separate routes were arranged by Mr. Lorry with Miss Prose and Jerry. After hiring a carriage, Jerry waited for Miss Prose. Ma'am Defarge set out to visit Lucy, thinking that her family had not escaped. She met Miss Prose and pushed her as she wanted to meet Lucy. She tried to find out them. She called for them but didn't get any reply. When she didn't get any reply, she went in another room. Miss Prose blocked her way because she was knowing that if Ma'am Defarge came to know that Lucy and her family was not there, she would send guards to catch them. In the struggle between both, accidentally, Ma'am Defarge was killed by fire of her own pistol. Miss Prose pulled her dead body under a table, took a small bag of some costly things, and ran out of the door. Jerry understood that something wrong had happened. He helped her to be into the carriage. She became permanently deaf because of noise of blast. Now, scene of guillotine. Up to that time, 22 prisoners were killed there. Ma'am Defarge was absent from that place. Carton, whom all were thinking to be Evermont, was waiting for his turn. He was holding hand of a frightened girl. She thanked him. He asked her to stay by him as he was worried of his identity. When heads of prisoners were rolling in front of him, last thoughts came in his mind. In his thoughts, he saw a beautiful city where a class of people had suffered a lot in past. Now they were struggling to get freedom. But in that process, they were doing many wrong things. He saw a peaceful life for Lucy and Charles Darnay back in England, including a son named after him. He also saw that Lucy was telling his story to his son. He concluded that he had done one of the best things in his life, and now he would rest in peace forever after his death. When he was in these thoughts, line in front of him became shorter, and the girl who was holding his hand was separated and killed. Then he felt that someone was pushing him towards the slot. Sidney Carton sacrificed his life for his selfless love for Lucy and little Lucy. He also sacrificed to keep his promise which he had made with little Lucy. Students, read this chapter carefully and try to do its exercise. Thank you and take care.